Good morning. Very great to see you. I hope your weekend went well. Monday, September 21st. I know this is kind of a weird page number, but we are on G11, which is towards the very beginning of the book. You kind of look, there's about 15 pages that have a G in front of them. That's just where we're at. Why it's numbered that way, I don't really know, but it is. But we're focusing on a few of those pages to kind of really get interested and learn about our map study, which is going to help us for the rest of our social studies unit. Two things we're going to learn about today. Number one is how a grid map works, and to be honest, how to read a grid map. It's kind of interesting. I know there is words on maps and things, but there's other things you need to be able to read on a map, and in order to be able to read what's on a grid map, we have to first figure out the map key. That's always going to be the place I ask you to start when looking at a map, because there's going to be so many different kinds of maps, which we're going to get into basically all week in social studies, and you have to understand what the symbols mean. Now, I know you could probably figure out that this is train tracks, and this is a river, and this is a road with the bridge, but what in the world is this star, and what in the world is this dashed line here? Again, some are pretty self-explanatory, but as the week goes on, we're going to have some other maps that is like, whoa, what is this map trying to tell me? And you have to look at the map key. Most every map is going to have this map key, and just like a key unlocks the door to get you in, this map key unlocks the understanding of what all these symbols and what all these markings are on the map. So again, you probably correctly deciphered that this little marking here is indeed a bridge, right? And if you're just wondering again, what is this little circle with the star? You look back at the map key and find it and say, oh, that's the capital city. So that actually marks where a city is. And what's this dashed line? Oh, that's a dirt road. And this is a normal road, and this is a river. Again, some are pretty clear, and you can say, I can do it without a map key. But as we go on through this week, you're going to find out how important this map key is, and you're going to hear it from me throughout the week. You have to start with looking at the map key so you know really truly what you're looking at. Now going on to a grid map. Here again, I'm going to ask you to start with the map key, and so you understand, okay, oh, this is the house, and again, I know there's words here, but it just helps you understand a little bit more with the map key. Some map keys will help you a lot more. Some, not so much, but you always start there. Now here's a grid map. It's literally a map with a grid placed over the top of it. And this is a grid, just a bunch of squares. And you're going to see the A, B, C, D, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in order to read a grid map, you always start with the letters first. Don't know why it's that way, but that's the rule. You start with the letters first. And here's what's kind of fun. It's kind of a matching game, but you got to kind of start, if you have using some multiplication tables, it's the same way. It's literally a grid map for multiplication facts. But you got to kind of put your finger up there, and where you meet, that's the area in the grid map where it is. So let's start with the post office here. If you can remember, it's in column D. And if you look here, it's in row 2. So instead of saying column D, row 2, that's where the post office is, you just simply say the post office is in D2. If you put your finger here, and you put another finger here, where you meet is right there in the post office, D2, right? That's how you read a grid map. So if I sit here and say, okay, what is in D4? What is in D4? So you go with your eyes and your fingers. You say, okay, here's D, boom, and here's 4. So I'm going to meet right here, and there you say it's a police station, D4. You see how that works? Kind of cool, kind of neat, in my opinion. Instead of looking all over the place for where is this, the grid map helps. Now I know this is just kind of an introduction to grid maps, so it's a pretty simple map, but Uh, in my classroom, I have a big, huge map of the entire world. But if you look closely, it's got grids the whole way. And the reason for that is because on the very bottom, it lists all the different countries in alphabetical order. And if you say, okay, where is, any country, where is New Zealand? And so you could literally take hours to look at the entire map to find New Zealand. But if you notice on that map, when we get in the classroom, it actually says New Zealand. It might say Y36. That's a huge grid map, I know. But okay, here's the Y column, and here's the 36 row. Boom. There's New Zealand right there, kind of by Australia. It just helps you so you're not just looking all over for it, so on and so forth. So if I would ask you here on this grid map and say, okay, what location is the house? What location is the house? And here you'd say, okay, remember, start with the letters. Start with the letters first. It's in A1. A1. If you're getting hungry for steak, I'm sorry. But A1 is right here. Okay. What is in A3? A3. And there you start with A and go to hit 3. Boom. The school. The school. The best place on earth, right? And then the library is in E1, right? Now again, this is a pretty simple map. But where grid maps, in my opinion, really help out is when you have a big area of land. Now this is the state of Louisiana, and this is a huge state. They really shrunk it to fit on this page here. But a lot of bigger cities. Some of these you may have heard of, some of these you haven't, but at any rate, not really a map key because there's really nothing for a map key to show you. It's just the state of Louisiana, which we have, and it's got the cities. This compass rose, north, south, east, west, we're going to talk about later this week. But if you notice, now this can happen sometimes, the letters are here and the numbers are down here. Doesn't matter where the letters and the numbers are. What does matter is you always, always, always start with the letter. Always. So, if you like football and follow the New Orleans Saints, or if you like basketball and follow the New Orleans Pelicans with Zion Mania, right? You would say, what location is New Orleans in this grid map? And here you start with, okay, it's in the E row. It's in the number 4 column. You don't say row E, column 4. You just simply say New Orleans is in E4. And people that know how to read a grid map will say, okay, there's E, there's 4, boom, yep, there's New Orleans. There's New Orleans. Now, I'm going to focus on Baton Rouge, and just so you guys know where Baton Rouge is, it's in D3. D3. And the reason I very specifically said D3 is you go to D3 right here, yep. Notice where the dot is. That's actually where the city is. Now, Baton Rouge is a long name, so it goes and say, what about D4? Say, no, it's in D3 because that's where the dot is. The name is just so long that, it spills into D4, so to speak, but Baton Rouge is correctly in D3. Now, if you got some crazy city like Monroe, and we're not going to blame Monroe, it's not their fault, but, right? Because somebody else put this grid map on here. But you could actually say Monroe is in A2 and A3, right? So people know, okay, it's right in the middle of the line of A2 and A3. That's just how to read a grid map, okay? If I might ask you one final question before we get to our assignment, what is in C2? What is in C2? You correctly follow C and 2. Boom. Alexandria. Alexandria, Louisiana. There you go. So I think you got it here pretty well. Now on your assignment, you have a grid map right here. And there's only 4 questions. I think that's nice because it might be a shorter assignment. But remember, with only 4 questions, if you get one wrong, that really lowers your grade quickly because there are only 4 points. So, concentrate on this. Concentrate and make sure you're answering them fully. Yes, there's only 4, but make sure you're doing them well. Here again, if you notice, it's going to kind of quiz you on, do you understand how to read a grid map? And this is, remember, the letter goes first, right? Here's the letters, here's the numbers. They kind of have it nice because it goes all the way across there. But here, Marcia and her friends wanted to visit the zoo. In which square is the zoo located? You got to find the zoo and then correctly tell me what location on the grid map the zoo is. So, read the questions carefully, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Praise and you Savior.